terminal.
Alright, chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, roll, Atlantic.
Water towers can fly! Yes!
Tango Delta nominal.
Flight downside, SCE off. Say again, SCE off.
Yikes. You bet. Okay. We don't need any more of these.
All right, folks, you know the drill. It's time for another launch. We've been busy these days over in NSF land. We've got a Starlink going up tonight from the Cape Kennedy Space Center with a Falcon 9 out there at LC-39A. My name is John Galloway for NASA Spaceflight. Give me some 5x5s in chat to make sure that you can hear and see what's going on. You should see the Falcon 9 in another taller tower that one day will be very interesting to look at and may have very large rockets next to it, and the original 39A there with the Falcon 9. I've got lots of 5x5s in chat, it looks like, so let's go ahead and introduce the other people that will be helping me out this afternoon, starting with Mr. Alejandro Alcantarilla Romero. Alex, how are you doing this afternoon?
Yeah, well, already evening here, doing well, and yeah, I mean, another Falcon 9, right? It's like, it's been so long since the last Falcon 9 launch.
You've been jonesing for Falcon 9 launches, right? It's just been so long since you've seen one.
Yeah.
Also, folks, out in the field today, operating a camera for us, we have Mr. Chris Gebhardt. Chris, we got you on comms?
You do indeed. Good afternoon from the Kennedy Space Center here in Florida, where, like Alex, I too am jonesing for another Falcon 9. I mean, 24 hours is just too long to ask to go between them.
Gosh, my leg is twitching and my eye, like, it's just messing with me because there hasn't been a launch in a few hours. Like,
yeah.
All right, so we're going to be doing coverage here on the NASA Spaceflight stream. As we do, we'll be doing Q&A. Tag us in chat at NASA Spaceflight if you've got questions for us, and we'll get to them in due time. Also, if you do things like super chats or join the member program or anything like that, we read those out on occasion as well. We will also be doing a little bit of trivia because Alex is going to answer all the random questions I ask. Alex, are you ready to go?
Well,
so
I'm always ready, I guess.
How many? Y'all should buzz in. We should do like a trivia show where you have buzzers and you have to buzz in to my questions. So whoever buzzes in first by saying the word buzz, you can answer the question. First question for 5 points. How many launches off of 39A is this for Falcon 9? Oh, you buzzed? Okay, Chris buzzed. Go ahead. How many launches?
For Falcon 9, in specifically, this will be number 55 off 39A.
Aha! 5 points for Chris Endor, or whatever. How many launches total is this for SpaceX overall?
Well, buzz, right?
Look, you have to say buzz first. That's how it works.
Okay,
Alex,
buzz.
go.
This is the 59th of this year and the 200th overall attempt for them. So
there you
if
go.
You don't count in-flight abort, that's like 200th launch of a Falcon rocket.
You'll know I don't actually know the answers, and I just trust that you know what the answer is when I ask the question. I don't have like a cheat sheet or anything.
That's why Alex and I spend hours ahead of stream getting all this ready.
That's 5 points for physics door. Fizzerland. Your haircut is like Snape's haircut, so I'm going to go with the Slytherin sort of thing. Anyways, let's talk a little bit more about the mission. Who wants to give us a rundown? Chris, you got a little bit of talking to do, trajectory and stuff-wise?
I can do some talking on the trajectory, yes. There's one other cool piece of trivia that I do want to relate because I always love it when numbers align like this. So overall, we said it's the 55th Falcon 9 off 39A, but it is overall the 59th SpaceX flight off 39A when you include the 4 Falcon Heavies. So today is the 59th Falcon family launch off 39A, and coincidentally the 59th Falcon family launch of the year for SpaceX. So I like it when numbers align like that as well. But yes, today is a Starlink mission, but more importantly, it is a record first time 15th flight for booster 1058. And that's really a lot of why I think a lot of people are tuning into this one today, because every time we get a new fleet leader for the Falcon 9s, it's really cool because it's showing how much they're continuing to push the envelope with those vehicles. But I know Alex is going to want to talk more about that. So let's talk about the trajectory. So after Falcon 9 lifts off, it is a fairly standard Starlink mission for this particular booster. It will pitch to the northeast, heading out to obtain a 53.2 degree inclination orbit. So that basically means that it will get as high as 53.2 degrees north and 53.2 degrees south if you were to draw the orbit on the globe of the Earth. So that is where it is headed today, with 54 more Starlink V1.5 satellites. Each one of those satellites weighs approximately 300 kilograms, for a total liftoff mass today of the payload of roughly 16.2 metric tons. This requires the booster to land on the drone ship, which will be just read the instructions, located 652 kilometers northeast of the launch site here at the Kennedy Space Center. And overall, this will result in the Starlinks being deployed into their initial roughly 350 kilometer orbit about 15 minutes and 22 seconds after liftoff here today. So that is the mission on tap for Falcon 9 today from 39A at the Kennedy Space Center.
Excellent. Got a couple of, I guess these are memberships that have come in, not super chats yet, but memberships. Mikhail Dipper Resting Jepson. Thank you for becoming a Red Team member. We appreciate you joining the membership program there. And then Claire Louise with a couple heart emojis next to your name. Thank you for joining the membership program as a pad rat. Remember, if you join the membership program, you get access to some cool behind the scenes things. Sometimes we do like early videos and there's photos of things that happen and all sorts of things you can get. So we appreciate y'all supporting what we do by joining the membership program. Let's see here. We're going to do some Q&A as well, as I promised. Starting off with this one for Alex. Alex, do you ever take a day off?
Huh. That's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure how to answer that question.
No, basically.
I guess, yeah. Because space is also my hobby. So it's like whenever I'm not working, I'm also like, doing space stuff, like getting my data all, prepared and everything, and spreadsheets updated and all of that. So, yeah, I guess it's kind of always.
No days off. Well, hopefully when like Spanish Christmas comes around or whatever you celebrate, you get the chance to not have to update your spreadsheets and notes and data, and you can just chill out.
No, I don't think.
No, you're just going to update. Okay, fine.
I'm kind of targeting to have everything already updated by then.
Nice. Here is another one that might be a little controversial. Yesterday, there was an opportunity and there was some big talk about the range and SpaceX both being able to support back-to-back launches, like rapid cadence launches. Why has that never happened? Can they actually support that? They always seem to say they can support it, but it never works out. Like, what decision was made that kept them from getting those back-to-back launches yesterday?
Chris, you want to hit that one? Oh, have we lost Chris?
We lost Chris for a second. So it sounds like it's up to you.
Okay, well, it looks like it was mostly a SpaceX decision rather than a range decision. It felt like they were ready, like the range was ready to support that back-to-back launch just within 30 minutes of one and the other. But it feels like SpaceX was just like, hey, we're going to concentrate on the customer mission that we have here at hand, and leave the Starlink mission for the next day, because no sweat, it's a Starlink, it's our own payload, no one is going to complain other than us ourselves, so let's keep it the next day and we can focus on the customer. So it feels like it was more or less that kind of decision there.
Gotcha. So they might, like technically maybe they could have done it, but when it comes down to like a human focus sort of thing, they decided to make sure the humans were all focused, even if maybe the range assets and everything could have supported the back-to-back launches. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's how it felt.
Gotcha. All right, let me keep asking some more questions here, and I think we are working on sorting Chris's comms as well. Reading some.
I think I'm
Oh, hey,
back.
Chris.
If you've got me, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
there you go.
Yes.
How's it going? Welcome
Going
back.
well. Yes.
Here is a good question. Attila Bergi, maybe, says, totally random question, but how are you always half a minute ahead of the official SpaceX and NASA streams? And I can answer that one. NASA, when they do their old streams, they bake in like a hard delay. So like no matter what you do, you could have the best internet and everything, and you're still going to get this like hard baked in delay where you can't, you're not going to get the video from NASA any faster than that. SpaceX does their broadcasts in 4K, which means that there's more of a video buffer. And so if you're watching it, even if you're not watching in 4K, you're watching in 1080 or something, the SpaceX streams have a longer latency, like from the time it happens in real life to you, because they stream in 4K, which means that it doesn't happen real time. There's more latency. You're sort of watching it on a delay. Ours doesn't do either of those things. We don't bake in like a 30-second, oh my gosh, what if we have to cut it delay like NASA does? And we're not currently streaming in 4K like SpaceX does, so it's sort of splitting the difference. You get the video quality from us that is actually in real time. We're almost the fastest stream out there sometimes. So, different people like different things, and we currently operate on a low delay mode, I guess you could say. Let's see here. Asking more questions.
I would like to hit something right
Go
now
for it.
because we're at, what's supposed to be T-minus 27 minutes, and I don't see any condensation yet on the booster. And the ComsNet from SpaceX just went live on YouTube like a minute or so ago. So it's important to know that for these Starlink missions, they usually target 2 T0s or even 3 sometimes. And today's second T0 was at 4:52 p.m. Eastern time, so 20 minutes after the first one. And it's totally possible that because we're not seeing any sort of vapors of condensation of fueling or anything, it might be that they're targeting today that second T0, but we still don't have any confirmation from SpaceX, but all looks like it might be that the case here. So yeah, just kind of hitting that off.
Gotcha. And we'll know, I guess, with even more certainty here coming up in 6.5 minutes or so when the big vent should happen. Oh, wow. Look at that low-flying helicopter in the background.
Oh my god.
That's cool. It's the KSC security helicopter. They do
Yeah,
sweeps of the area and beach, right, Chris?
Yeah. The range helicopter assets that are making sure that land, sea, and air assets are all cleared and ready for liftoff.
Excellent. Let's see here. So we'll know, like, when the T-minus 20-minute vent comes. The helicopter got my attention. Sorry, it looked cool. We'll know if we get that T-minus 20-minute vent. But right now, we're going for that first. I guess it's not even a window. That first launch opportunity, that first T0. And if the T-minus 20-minute vent doesn't happen, then we will adjust that time for the second T0. Don't go anywhere. It's only like 20 minutes after the first T0 or something, right, y'all?
Yeah. Thankfully,
okay.
it's not like other times where they're like, now we're in 30 minutes or something after the first one, and we're like here waiting.
Yeah, exactly. So if we don't see
too
that
long.
big 20-minute vent, it's going to be like a 40-minute non-vent and then a 20-minute vent, I guess is the way to say it.
Yeah,
So
and something to. Yeah, well, another thing that I would like to say is that sometimes sooty boosters like this don't have a lot of condensation because they are so sooty that ice doesn't even stick on the tank. Like you can see some sooty boosters where there's ice on some parts of the booster but not on others. Whereas, very new boosters have all the liquid oxygen tank frosted over. So it's like it could also be that the case here that we may not see that condensation, but also because it's very sooty, so that could also be the case.
So we may or may not see it change colors, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Excellent. Let's see. Continuing to go through some more questions. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, nope, all good.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to ask something. let's see here. This is a quick one. Alex, maybe you can grab this one. Do we know how long it takes to produce a second stage for a Falcon 9? Because we all talk about the reusable first stages, right? But they have to produce a new second stage every time they launch. So do we know how long that takes them?
Oh boy, I'm not really sure, but we do know that they obviously have to produce them like one every week or less. But obviously you can have like multiple second stages in production in different stages, and maybe it takes like a month, but you have 4 or 5 at the same time being produced, so you effectively roll out one every week or something like that. So
Which makes sense based on the launch cadence of one every 6 days. That sort of gives you like, well, they ought to be doing at least that in
exactly.
a way.
So it's we don't really know how long it takes for producing like a single stage, like from start to finish, but we kind of know like what probably is the cadence of production, which must be around one every less than 1 week. We definitely see a lot of second stages being tested every week at McGregor, for example. So you can always tune in to McGregor Live for that.
Nice little plug there. That's true. Like a lot of people tend to confuse, oh wow, they make a stage every week, and it takes them 1 week to make a stage. Those are two totally different things. You could have an assembly line with 10 stages in the line, and you've been working on the stages for some number of weeks, 8 weeks or 10 weeks or something, and every week one new stage is done, but you've been working on it for 10 weeks, right? And you just have a queue of things that you're working on, versus if you're producing one every week, it's like, okay, it's bare metal, there's nuts in a bin next to it over here, and you have an engine that you need to put on it, and it's going to take me 1 week to put this thing all together. So there's a little bit of a difference. We don't know exactly how long it takes them, sort of like raw materials to finish stage, but like Alex says, we do know that they need to produce about one a week if they're going to keep up with the cadence. And if they're doing 100 in a year,
that's gonna be 2 per week.
2 a week. Yeah, exactly.
I think I've heard that it's roughly on the magnitude of 2 months from raw materials to finish stage, but that includes the engine build.
Yeah, that will make sense.
Gotcha. And they don't just toss together the engine and they're like, okay, it's done. The engine has a test campaign that it goes through and that sort of stuff as well. I wonder if that's included in it, or it's you build the stage and then you test the stage that's separate from building the stage, and then you ship the stage for launch or whatever.
That's a good clarification question. Is it from raw material to ship out of factory, or raw material until done at McGregor, ready to ship to launch site? That's a good question.
Yeah, and I don't quite know the answer to that, but it is a great question.
Yeah, that it is.
Let's see.
So I guess we're going to find out in 1 minute whether or not we are actually at T-minus 20 minutes or T-minus 40 minutes.
There. So it might actually be under fueling.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. Like, we're going to definitely find out here in 50 minutes, because that T-minus 20 minute event will start at 20 minutes, 22 seconds on the dot. So that is going to be our indicator whether it is window 1 or window 2. But I'm with you, Alex. Like, if we're seeing a little bit of vapors, might be an indication that they are indeed pressing to the first one, but we will wait and see in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's sort of right down there around the bottom of the rocket. It looks like the sooty part is a little bit lighter, correct?
Which either indicates that, let's see here, because part of it could be chilling down the cross-country lines, getting things ready for the second window. Either way, we're going to find out in 8 seconds. So
yeah, in 8 seconds. Nice.
Hey! Yeah. And there's the 20-minute event right there, right on time. So there we go, the T-minus 20-minute event. So we are 20 minutes, 14 seconds away from the launch of Falcon 9 with Starlink 4-37. So there we go.
All right. Well, that answered our question, I guess. That is
the problem was
Go ahead, Alex.
The booster is too sooty. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's exactly what you were talking about. Like the sides of the soot is almost like, I guess, an insulator, or it makes the surface slippery is probably the wrong word. Crumbly is also the wrong word, but it just makes the ice not stick to the surface. I don't know which one of those it is, but you can see a little, like it looks like the soot's a little bit of a different color. Can you see that in person, Chris?
You actually can very, very faintly with the naked eye. You can barely make out the difference. The hardest part with the naked eye is the very white transporter erector that's right by it.
Right?
But the darker the boosters become, the easier it becomes for the naked eye to pick out the differences in them. So yes, you actually can see that if you really focus with your eye, and if
The
you're
old,
like me, you're wearing your glasses, you can pick it
yeah,
up. Yeah,
the old Mark One eyeball out there at the Cape.
exactly. But I actually want to talk a little bit about the soot on the booster, if I may,
Go.
because at a certain point, right, we get this question a lot. Does the added soot on the outside affect mass? Does it affect the performance of the rocket, how much it can carry, right? And we've always said, well, no, it's so negligible, it really doesn't affect the overall performance of the rocket. It doesn't affect the payload, which is true. However, it has gotten to a point on the Falcon 9s that when they reach about the 12th or 13th flight, they start altering the flight profile, the angle of attack that the vehicle is programmed to fly, to start to account for that minor added mass of the soot on the booster. So Falcons do end up having to fly slightly different trajectories that you would never see with the naked eye, the difference of, but they are flying slightly different trajectories for the higher flight boosters because of the soot on them.
All right. I think we've talked in the past about like how much the soot weighs. And we don't know how much the soot weighs like actually, but the soot clearly has some amount of mass, and we like conjectured whether or not the mass of the soot hanging onto the X side of the rocket made a huge difference. But I don't know, like we don't know how much it weighs, but it is enough that they do something slightly different, right?
It is indeed. Yep.
All right. So is there one thing that maybe I glossed over a little bit here? Because this is actually a important flight for boosters overall, isn't it? I think this is like
Definitely,
a
Alex,
record.
right?
Is a record-breaking flight, or am I wrong? Alex, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, it is the 15th flight of this booster. As I said, it's very sooty. We can see there that even ice doesn't really seem to stick to the booster, and condensation and things like that. So yeah, it is the 15th flight of this booster, and no other booster has flown so many times. So this is a record for the fleet. There's a close one. There's B1060, which is like right on the heels of that one, and it's on its 14th flight, but it's gonna be performing its 15th flight real soon as well. So there's a decent amount of boosters, because there's another couple of them that are also past their 10th flight as well. So yeah, the booster fleet here it's growing older, and this booster actually I wanted to kind of have this stat here as well, because this is the booster that has launched the most satellites. After today, it'll be 779 satellites. And that's a minimum number, because the count that I make basically doesn't take into account like CubeSats going on Dragon or something like that, because I still haven't dealt with that. And there might also be like more secret satellites on some other missions. We've seen, Global Star F-15, for example, carried a few secret satellites there. So, but that's like a minimum, at least 779 satellites, which is mind blowing.
I wanted to. What was the first one? This one launched.
The first one was
Oh.
actually Bob and Doug, Demo 2.
Aha! I think I've actually. Okay, nobody get confused like I was earlier. I clicked on this stream link from Demo 2 2 years ago, or just it says 2 years ago in the interface. I don't know exactly how many months ago it was, and then I forgot that I had clicked on this, and then all of a sudden in my peripheral vision, a Falcon 9 was launching, and I was like, "What happened? Did we mess up the time? Like the rocket's launching?" And it wasn't the actual launch. It was the Demo 2 replay that Alex had linked for me. Here in, there we go. Whew. But look how clean it is. You can actually look at the side of the booster and see that it is nice and white and shiny. Whoa, all of a sudden. As opposed to a little bit hard with the backlighting there, but it's much dirtier nowadays. Doesn't even look the same.
It was also not sunset.
It was also not sunset. Yeah, we're not looking into the, not looking with the sun behind us versus the sun in front of us, huh? All right. Oh,
yeah.
playing it
Its
twice, I
first
guess,
launch.
with the picture-in-picture. Nice. Anyways, that was actually a slight conversation we had when we named the stream. We were wondering if people cared more about it being the record-setting 15 launch of a booster or the fact that it's a Starlink. And if you look at the title of the stream that we're doing here, you can see that we went with it being a record-breaking booster
15th
and
one,
not
exactly.
Starlink. Nobody cares that it's a Starlink. Put that it's a record-breaking 15th launch.
But I want to hit something too. I actually got a question on this on Twitter, actually, from someone named Ragnar, who, when I said, 15th flight of a booster, their response was designed for 10 flights. Before checks, they are actually designed for up to 100 or more flights as they continue to get checked out. The initial idea was that they would fly 10, be taken out of service and checked out, and then fly 10. But as they've actually gotten into operations, they are able to do some of the checkouts in the actual booster flows, and then they're also able to take boosters out of service for a while to do more intensive inspections if they so want to.
Yeah, and that's one of the key things here, that because they have had actual experience now, compared to the goals that they had before, now they are actually like, hey, we actually don't need to take the booster out of commission for like a lengthy refurbishment or something like that. We can actually just keep refurbishing normally, because the data kind of shows that and they have had like other boosters as well, that once they hit 10 flights, the 11th doesn't occur like 6 or 7 months later. It's like 2 months. Like there was, I think, one of those that was even like second or third in the terms of the record turnaround times. So it's definitely not something that is like a hard cut in. Now that we get to 10 flights, we need the booster to be stopped flying for several months to do in-depth inspections or things like that. They are able to, as you said, add it to the usual flow of refurbishment and keep just doing the normal refurbishment process instead
Makes
of
sense.
the in-depth one. Yep.
All right. Let's see if we can't get a couple more questions in here. Actually, some super chats came in. Maja or Maha, one of those, with some euros. Thank you so much for the support. Starship 24 says, I see Starlink V2 launching next week. Have we talked about when they may be launching those new Starlinks, Alex?
Alex, yeah.
Oh yeah. It's a long story there, but there was always like some weird mission going on. There was like Group 5-1, and it always felt very weird. And when you add up all the information, it kind of looks like it's gonna be launching Starlink V2s. Yesterday, we got some information via SpaceX, basically requesting the FCC to approve some VHF like beacons or something like that on Starlink V2 satellites, and they mentioned that they're going to be launching them late December 2022. And the thing is, there's only 2 more missions after this one that are at late December 2022, and there's that Starlink Group 5-1 mission that was so weird that we were like, this is weird. This has to be something different here. And then there was like there's the Eros C3 satellite from Vandenberg. So if you ask me, it's probably gonna be that Starlink Group 5-1. That's gonna be the weird one that carries at least something V2 related that prompted the SpaceX to ask the FCC, hey, we need this approval just in case we actually are able to launch this thing. So yeah.
Doesn't this also have something to do with some of the frequencies or ranges that Starlink V2 would then be allowed to use in relation to the Kuiper constellation?
Yeah. So the thing is, for Starlink V2, they already have like approval of the normal frequencies and things like that. But what they were requesting here is like a VHF beacon or something like that. That it's like separate. I haven't really dived into that document just yet because it was like yesterday, and we had we had 2 launches as well and other things going on, so I still haven't dived into that, but I will be writing that article for that launch, so keep an eye on that as well. But yeah, if they launch the Starlink V2s and actually operate them before Kuiper, I guess they have frequency rights first, like they, first come first serve kind of thing. That's a real possibility here that
Yeah.
they want to launch that before Kuiper.
All right. I'm like, wait, is it my turn to talk now? Chris, are you going to say something? But
Well, I can give the rundown of the tech stuff that's about to happen, but yeah, I'm sure we've got some more questions too.
Well, let me grab a couple more super chats here, and then we'll wait on the rest of them till after the launch. Prototype Dracon, thank you so much for becoming a PadRat member. We appreciate you. Let's see here. Mikhail Dipper Resting Jepson said, I gifted myself a membership. Okay, cool. Because it's my trip around the Sunday in 2 hours. Thanks for the red team last month. Thanks, NSF. You rock. Well, thank you. I guess you're talking about having a happy birthday there, Mikhail. So happy birthday. Hopefully you get a birthday candle lit here in your honor. Pete McCullough, thank you for becoming a Capcom member. We appreciate the support there. Jay Wortman, 1984, says it's a twofer weekend at KSC. Back to Banana Creek again. Hashtag DOS Fam Club. Well, heck, Jay Wortman. Go ahead.
Oh, sweet, Jay. I guess that means the Banana Creek. That's a reference to the Kennedy Space Center visitor complex and the viewing stands that they have there. So awesome! I'm glad you came back for the second one too.
Excellent. Let's see. I'll speed run a couple more here. Paul Yoles. Pretty close. Will SpaceX push it past 15 launches per booster? Do we know if they have a hard, soft limit? We talked about that a little bit earlier, but certainly they'll get this one. If they get it back, they'll do inspections on it, and they'll see if they want to fly it a 16th time. They're sort of in this one-at-a-time mode where they get it, and they inspect it, and if they're happy with it, why not send it again? That is sort of what we expect to be happening. Let's see here. Starship 24 did another super chat, and then Jacob Osgood asked, so will all 3 drone ships be occupied after this flight? That's a good question.
No.
Oh, no, because
it was
SWAT
RTLS.
was RTLS.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We had a weird 3 RTLS missions all in a row, and all 3 from different paths. It was landing zone 1, landing zone 2, and landing zone 4. And now we're back to drone ships. It's crazy, right? we had like 3 RTLS in a row.
And for those wondering, since Alex just said landing zone 1, 2, and 4, there is no 3. So those are the 3 actually. And I can also report that in addition to the aerial security of the Cape helicopters and planes, the aquatic security is also now on site. So all security looking good for the liftoff here.
Nice. You can see just above the
aquatic
launch pad
security
there,
being alligators, folks.
the alligators, yes. It's not like goldfish or anything. They have teeth. They're alligators. You can see up above the pad, there is sort of a mid-level cloud layer here. So exactly how much visibility we're going to have on the rocket, we don't know. It's not really low-hanging, but it's not a perfectly clear sky out there. So when this takes off, expected to get a good view off the launch pad and then have it punch through some clouds. Alex, how's the status of the launch looking? You listening on SpaceX?
Yep. They have just wrapped up RP1 load on the first stage, and the engine chill is underway.
All right. So now coming
I
up
have
at
one weird stat that I
Sure.
would like to hit, because I hit that one on the SWAT launch, and if today they launch on time, they should be able to keep it, that thing. So today, it's the 3rd launch this week, and it's probably going to be the record of 3 launches in a row for SpaceX. The current record is 36 hours and 18 minutes for 3 missions in a row, which was Starlink 419, Star 1, and Globalstar FM15. But today it will be 33 hours and 46 minutes between SWAT, O3B, and Starlink 437. So there you go. By 3 hours, they will cut that.
Nice.
All right, so we're now under 5 minutes away. There was one question that came through here about where you may be able to see this launch. So really quickly, with under 5 minutes to go, let's have a look at that. Well, it's not a replay, but don't worry about it. I would just scratch that out with my marker if I could. But here is a map. This is a northeast trajectory, and it is heading up the east coast. So if you're anywhere along the east coast and it's not too cloudy where you are, go ahead and look out to the east over the ocean. You can see that landing zone that's out there. But if you're in Charleston, Savannah, Jacksonville, all the way up to Wilmington, Morehead City, North Carolina, and all the way up the east coast for the second stage, be looking out to the east. Hopefully you don't have clouds out there and you can see the launch go by. Not quite enough to get a jellyfish here. It's not quite sundown out there at the Cape or on the East Coast, so we're not expecting a big jellyfish. Maybe you'll get an effect way up there. Yeah, Chris?
However, yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Because we're almost at the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, actually the northeastern portions of the U.S. and maritime Canada might actually see the jellyfish effect as it ascends up the eastern coast, because it will actually be ascending toward the Terminator line and where it is right now. So potentially possible in the northernmost regions of the U.S. and southern Canada. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Let's see, where are we at? T-minus 3.5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and put a pause on the super chats. Quite a few holiday super chats coming in. We appreciate y'all's holiday wishes, and I'll make sure I get all those after the launch and landing here. Same thing with the questions. We'll put a pause on the questions and see if we can answer a few more of those after the launch. But I will say I appreciate everybody coming out and hanging out with us today. If you're watching the stream, you know what to do. You know how to get back here if this is the sort of coverage. We don't have scripts or now read the thing about the sponsor. We don't have any of that sort of stuff. We're NASA Spaceflight. We do live commentary here, sort of just a bunch of space nerds who like to watch rocket launches. So click the subscribe button if you want to get back. If you don't want to miss our live streams, turn on the bell or whatever it is these days. There's a like button down there as well. You can click the thumbs up, and that helps other people find this as well. But I'm going to go ahead and stop running my mouth. Any final words before we get going here, Chris?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I hope everyone enjoys this liftoff of Starlink here tonight or this evening, and I am going to hop off comms so that I can do the manual tracking here on site. So I'll catch you all after liftoff.
All right, outstanding. Thank you, Chris.
Okay. Well, we're getting close to the business end of the countdown here.
There's a lot of stuff that still happens in the last 2 minutes. At some point, it actually hands over from the humans to the computers on the rocket, right, Alex?
Yeah, right now they're wrapping up the load of propellant on both stages. I'm kind of waiting for that stage 2 LUX load complete call out. But they are basically in that point right now of the countdown. There we go. Just heard that one. And there we go. Venting from the Stromback, that's the gas closeouts. They purge all the lines on the Stromback in order, not flamey bits hitting liquid oxygen and things like that. And in about 25 seconds, the ground computers are going to hand off control of the countdown to the onboard computers. And that's going to be the Falcon 9 enters startup.
All right. At some point, isn't there a point that sort of crosses over where the rocket can decide whether or not it's going?
Yes. So even when it is in startup, they can still do manual aborts. But once it goes to T-minus 10 seconds, they are not, in control of any abort manually. It's all automated. And I just heard Falcon 9 is in startup.
All right. You're not expecting a human being to see something and then have reaction time and dive for a big red button or something like that 10 seconds before the launch. The computers take it over.
And I just heard also go for launch as well. So they are go.
Excellent. Coming up on T-minus 30 seconds, or actually just crossed over T-minus 30 seconds for the Falcon 9 out at LC-39A, lifting Starlink Group 437. We're going to bring up our field audio. Remember, the microphone's a little bit far away from the launch pad, so it may take us some time. It's also YouTube comments near a parking lot, so you may hear car alarms. It doesn't mean there's a car alarm on the rocket itself. Here we go, T-minus 5 seconds. Let's listen in.
All right.
Yeah, as the crackle
was-
of the engines ripping apart the atmosphere fades out there, you can see the cloud layer that it punched through.
Yeah.
Very cool.
This was
Now,
the.
go ahead, Alex.
Go ahead. No, go
I was
ahead.
saying,
Go ahead.
T plus 1 minute and 30 seconds. Real quick, I want to show something we don't often see. Look at the launch pad in the plumes on either side of the launch pad. Not going
Oh.
to spend a lot of time on that, but I've never noticed that before.
You can see there the chill-in of the MVAC engine from the left side.
The sort of white plume on the left-hand side of the booster there?
Yeah, they have like little tubes where they sort of like a Starship the other day.
Oh yeah, like the engine chill that we would look for before the static fire, right?
Exactly, yeah. Let's see, we're approaching now Miko. Main engine cut off.
Got the curvature of the Earth in the background and the sun as well, looking back to the west. It's the view of the interstage, right?
Yep.
It is indeed. That rumble is just beginning to die out here at the Kennedy Space Center now as they're heading towards stage.
There we go,
7.
Miko. And stage separation.
Outstanding.
And now real quickly, if you blink you miss it, the fairing is going to be separating as well.
Here we go. We got the inside of the fairing cam there.
There we go.
And fairing sep. So now you've got two cameras on the screen, y'all. Oh, look, you can see the fairing tumbling away in the right-hand side. On the right-hand side,
Yeah.
That's the stage that's carrying the Starlinks the rest of the way into orbit. That's that Merlin vacuum engine. They switch back and forth between the two sides of the Merlin vacuum engine there. On the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side, you can see the first stage, the booster, the big main part of the rocket with the grid fins up at the top of it. It's continuing on its way down to the drone ship that's standing by out in the Atlantic Ocean to hopefully catch another successful landing.
You know, it's been a long time since the last Starlink launch. If you think about it. How
2
long?
months, right,
9
Alex?
missions.
Yeah.
But there's been 9 launches in between. That's the longest gap they have been having with Starlink missions.
Well, you know, it
That's another
was
stat.
kind of. Well, you know, one of the things that's kind of interesting about that because there was a huge like all of a sudden like everyone noticed like wait, customer satellites just stopped launching on everyone. And what was going on there? Well, there was an industry-wide reaction wheel problem from Honeywell that affected 90% of the satellite industry because most satellites use their reaction wheels from Honeywell. And Honeywell was having to go back and replace and rebuild and send replacements for these reaction wheels out. So that's what caused a lot of the, nothing can launch here because the reaction wheels are bad for all the satellites. And now we're seeing that bunch up of as they're being fixed. Now it's just salvo them all off as they're actually ready to lift off.
Yeah.
What a problem to have. Like, we can't launch our satellites because the reaction wheels are bad.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like you have to throw out
This-
all your romaine because of salmonella or something like that, but it's reaction wheels for spacecraft.
Yeah. It really is, but like
Oh,
We may have lost Chris
Yeah.
there.
in fact, earlier this week, the a
yeah. I
couple of
think
Gaulish
we
on an
we're
Ariane
kinda
5
losing
out of
him.
French Guiana actually. Oh,
Yeah, oops, we just 1 second, y'all. It's the thing where Chris, like somebody's uploading something or something like that, and we got some of his audio, but it was a little delayed. We'll give it a second. It may actually keep playing it here for a second.
And
All right, Chris, we got you back now?
I assume.
There we go. We got you. Now,
There we go.
continue, Chris. Continue. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, you know, everyone has to do the robot trick at one point on our streams. So, no, but the 2 Galaxy satellites that launched on the Ariane 5 rocket earlier this week actually got their reaction wheels a month ago before they launch, and reaction wheels are usually delivered a year or more before liftoff. So, yeah, I mean, the reaction wheel problem really has been an issue, and they really have just been trying to balance a lot of these launches with when will the satellites be ready to go, and really trying to lower that timeline down as much as possible.
Makes sense. Keep watching that left-hand video, y'all. The grid fins there.
Yeah.
Every now and then you see a little blast. There was one. those are actually the thrusters up at the top of the booster, helping give a little bit of guidance, keeping the trajectory and the attitude under control as it approaches the entry. Up here, we should get an entry burn where it lights up some of the engines down on the bottom to help it not only slow down, but what do we call it, Alex? The supersonic retro propulsion.
Yeah,
I think that's right,
something like
right?
that.
Yeah, supersonic
Now we
retro
should be
propulsion.
seeing. Yeah, we should be seeing that entry burn first one engine, the center engine, and then two of the outer engines, E3 and E5. Excuse me, E1 and E5.
Gotcha.
Engine 1 and engine 5. So
You can see the grid fins turning. Oh, there you
there
go.
we go. One engine and the other two. All three now doing that supersonic retropropulsion.
And that stage 1 telemetry as well. Look at how quickly the speed is dropping now that they've got those engines online.
And then I love the physics part of this is now it's accelerating a little bit again, and then the air grips it. And now
Yep.
the air is literally the only thing that's slowing it down. I love that momentary look at physics there as it's falling. Yeah.
Yep. It's getting down into the atmosphere where the air is thicker, right? You climb a mountain, you can't get enough air in your lungs because it's so thin. There's not a lot of oxygen up there or just atmospheric density for you. Same thing with the stage. Oh, I was going to explain grid fins and atmospheric density and they lost the feed. It's okay. The air gets thicker, and then the grid fins can actually start to give a little bit of aerodynamic control. Looks like they lost the feed there. That's not. It happens sometimes.
least-
It doesn't mean that there's anything
yeah.
wrong.
At least it's not like yesterday.
Oh, wait, you came back.
There we go.
Oh, this is my favorite
one
shot when the
transonic.
drone ship just emerges.
Yep.
There we go.
Look at the
that.
effect. Look at the effect around the grid fin on the left. It's not a sonic boom.
Wow.
It's a vapor cone or vapor that's sort of forming around that because of the atmospheric compression that happens at these densities and speeds.
And what I love is you can see the like residuals from the engine there still streaming out the back of it, which when they do RTLS, as you can see,
Landing
and there's
bird?
the reignition for landing. Nice.
I'm going to assume there's a drone ship somewhere under there.
Ah, it was
There it
coming
is.
in with a high. There we go.
Nice.
Landed.
So that would make it now booster 1058-16 because they level up at landing. So
Dash 16. Look at that, the sun setting in the background as the booster safely down on the drone ship out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Hundreds of miles, hundreds of kilometers downrange from where they launched. They'll bring it back in. You'll see it on our fleet cam as it comes into Port Canaveral, and they'll give it a look. I was going to say, and they'll do it again, but they'll give it a look, and then they'll decide if they're going to do it again with this booster.
yeah. And you can also see on the right-hand side of your screen there, now on the screen, there is stage 2 in its orbit. 27,000 kilometers per hour is about what we want for Starlink. So that should be,
Nice.
that is definitely good orbit. So just about 5 minutes now until Starlink separation.
All right, we'll have to see if SpaceX is going to let us have video of the Starlinks separating. We don't, sometimes they cut it before we see it, sometimes they show it, but we never know. It's always it's like opening Christmas presents.
Oh, they're wrapping up coverage.
Oh, come on. It's 5 minutes,
yeah, it's like it's in
SpaceX.
5 minutes.
Jeez.
Keep it.
Who
Oh.
doesn't like to see the tumble of the Starlinks? Oh,
Fine. Fine, we'll look at the launch pad, I guess. Did we have a, oh no. That was the tracking camera tracking the rocket over the horizon. It was not Chris looking for an alligator.
correct.
I saw the tracking camera zoomed in on the water, and I was wondering if there was an alligator somewhere out there, but it's not. I think that is where the rocket would be. The first stage, the booster would be if it had not, or if the Earth wasn't in the way.
Yes.
Michael can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm almost positive that's what the tracking camera is doing. It's looking through the Earth as if it's not there.
What was really cool this time, Doss, though, you mentioned alligators. So a few seconds after Falcon 9 lit its engines on the pad, there was a huge splash and commotion from the basin here because one of the things that alligators use to sense their surroundings are pressure differentials in the water. So as the engines light and pressure and vibrations and everything start to ripple through the water, they, depending on what they're doing, they can get very agitated by that. And there was one that got really agitated and upset and like started thrashing around for a moment here right as she was lifting off today. Yeah.
I'd be very agitated as well, to be honest.
Yeah, right. But Das, what you mentioned there, because we're looking at your happy empty launch pad today, but what you mentioned there too about what the pad looked like immediately following liftoff, I had not actually noticed that either, because you're usually looking up at the rocket and not at what the launch pad is doing after the rocket leaves. So that was a fascinating look at what it does in the immediacy after liftoff.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was, and I had just sort of noticed it, so I thought that I would show it on the stream. I should have put it in a side-by-side, but I wasn't expecting to do that, so I just showed it real quick, then got off of it so we could see the rocket again. But that was interesting. We could actually pull that whole video and see what the pad does after liftoff when everybody's watching the rocket go. That would be maybe an interesting.
Now, this launch pad might be ready for a Falcon Heavy next.
Just saying, huh?
Maybe the next launch is a Falcon Heavy.
the ever present. Oh, the next one's a Falcon Heavy, and then like a Starlink launches in 8 days. Like,
nice. Hey, really quickly, Julia Bergeron was out, and she has pasted a picture into our back channel here. I don't know where Julia was. Chris, was Julia with you, or was Julia out at Titusville?
If she was at the press site, she was not standing near me, but that is a different angle. That looks like she was at Banana. That looks like she was either in Titusville with a long lens or Banana Creek.
Gotcha. I assume she'll be able to hear us and she'll answer us in the back text channel so we can say where the shot was from. But Julia, one of our photographers, resident fleet chaser, she goes up at the helicopters when we do the flyover updates. We see what's going on around Roberts Road and the Starship pads and all the other pads that are out there. But Julia sharing that photo with us from her vantage point. If this was from Titusville, I'm talking slow, she's typing Titusville. Okay, good. This is actually what you can see from Titusville. There's some zoom in it, right? There's a camera lens on this, so it doesn't look like this with your Mark 1 eyeballs. But this is the view, the reflection on the water across the way from public viewing areas. You could like sit at the little park, watch the launch, and then walk across the street and get Mexican food afterwards. I always get Mexican food.
At Leoncito. I was going to say someone just walked up to me. I was going to say someone just walked up to me to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, so I muted myself and took the headphones off and then came back and heard you talking. But yeah, Leoncito, that's a great place to watch a launch. Exactly, yeah.
All right. Well, SpaceX took all of our cool rocket cameras away. So do we have, I'm going to read the last of the super chats here really quickly. But before I do that, there's lots of different ways you can support what we do, y'all. You just show up for the stream, you follow us on Twitter, you like and subscribe. Like, there are lots of free, non-monetary ways to be a part of the community and support what we do so that we can keep bringing you this sort of launch coverage. If you're looking to get some merch as part of supporting us, you can always head over to shop.nasaspaceflight.com. We have all sorts of Starship-related stuff. Here's that Falcon Heavy embroidered hoodie that everybody loved when we put that out. We still have calendars in stock, I know. Yeah, there's the calendars right there. This ugly, was it Mary X Mars Christmas sweater? I think sweatshirt. It's printed. Yes. It's not like a woven sweater. It's printed on a sweatshirt. There's like a red Tesla Roadster flying past the surface of Mars. There's like 15 Easter eggs in this thing or something. Might be a little late to get it in time for Christmas, but if you have any New Year's parties coming up, head on over to shop.nasaspaceflight.com. Certainly you could get a calendar before January 1st, and then you would have 365, unless it's a leap year, days of knowing what day it is without looking at your cell phone. How's that?
That works.
I think it works.
It works.
Anyways, there's all sorts of ways that you can be a part of what we do and help us continue on with it. You don't have to do super chats. It doesn't have to be monetary. Just showing up and being a part of the stream makes these events even more special for everybody involved. But if you want to get a cool shirt or a mug or something like that, check out the shop. Another great way to support us. I'm going to say thanks to the super chats here real quick. Maha again with some euros. Thank you so much. I think those are tacos and coffee emotes, so we appreciate you. Wolfram reminding people to smash the like button to launch this bird. Well, to like the stream, to continue the stream, whichever way you want to do it. Brian Owen, thank you for the $15. Jim Cavett says, happy holidays, NSF and family. We appreciate you, Jim. Joe NC says, Charlotte, North Carolina, science-driven. Appreciate everything your team does. Joe, I'm in Charlotte, too. I'm operating the stream from Charlotte, North Carolina today. Chris was out there at the Cape crewing a camera. We have our robotic cameras as well. Michael was running auto track from, further away than me. He was on the West Coast. But a lot of us participating here and bringing you this launch coverage remote. And I'm from North Carolina just like you. Lalo Ruvalcaba. Let's go with that. Says, I love your streams. I live in Cali and really looking for a launch with the jellyfish effect. When do we get a VAB? I'm going to say that that's Vandenberg launch. Anybody know when the next Vandenberg launch is?
Yes, it is next. So in 2 weeks it is December 28th local time. I think it is 10:58 p.m. It's going to be a return to landing, to launch site landing. The Eros C3, and that's actually going to be the last launch for SpaceX that they are currently scheduled for this year. So,
any chance that's in the jellyfish effect zone, or what time is that launch?
No, that's 10, like almost 11 p.m. local time. That's not going to be jellyfish. Yep.
RTLS though, we can't complain if it's an RTLS. So
Well, and actually, from Southern California, that actually means that when the stages separate, the plume impingements at night will create the Falcon Nebula over Los Angeles and Southern California and Arizona. Yeah, so another one. So that's actually a really cool visual that Southern California, Arizona folks will be able to see with that one.
I just heard a few minutes ago, and
provided the marine layer.
Yeah.
And SpaceX has also confirmed that all the Starlink satellites have been deployed successfully. So there you go. The 15.
That is awesome. So that means that with that deployment, there are now 3,612 Starlink satellites that have been launched, with 291 of them having re-entered at this point. So that is quite a satellite catalog that they have in orbit now.
2 minutes ago, deployment of 54 Starlink satellites confirmed. They spelled it right, too. I had to double check how to spell satellites. Just a couple more super chats here. I want to make sure we say thanks to everybody. Maha put in one for Merry Christmas to all. I do hope that I'm saying your name correctly. I don't know if it's Maja or Maha, but we appreciate you either way. Kurama became a Capcom member. Roseanne Devasto asked, anybody know what the speed of sound is in miles? Like any good scientific answer, the correct answer is it depends. On temperature and humidity and atmospheric density, isn't it somewhere at sea level at the Cape around...
Sorry,
Chris?
the comms went robot-y and I missed the crucial part of that question to understand what you're asking.
The speed of sound in miles per hour.
Oh, yes. Speed of... Oh, gosh, in miles per hour. I don't know. It's something like 290 meters per second is the speed of sound at sea level, but it changes as you ascend. It changes with air pressure and density and stuff like that. Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha. Let's see. I think it's somewhere around 7... It's not 670. I think it's 760 or something like that at normal conditions at sea level, but it does depend up and down slightly. Based on what's going on. Hey, there you go. 767.269.148 miles per hour in the back channel per Google.
There you go.
Yeah.
We've got Ibanez guy.
I know the speed of sound, but in meters per second.
In meters per second.
Imperial guy, yeah.
It was a trick question. That's why it was in miles per hour. It was a trick question. 767 miles per hour. Ibanez guy says, oh, those are actually gifted memberships. Thank you so much for sharing the holiday joy there and making 5 other folks get access to Red Team memberships there. And then lastly, Maha, I've said your name so many times. I really hope that it's like the Ha as the J-A and Ja. Either way, putting in one for a Happy New Year as well. Thank you so much for the support. And a late breaking one from Lalo. Now I'm going to say it wrong because you said this, Lalo. Ruvalcaba. There we go. Good job on my last name. Thanks for the info. Like, you psyched me out because you said I said it right, and I was like, oh gosh, I said it right? How did I say it? Anyway.
That's like the equivalent of you say it 2 different ways, and they go, yes.
Yes, yes.
I would probably be better at pronouncing that one, but yeah.
I do my best. Like, folks, I never mean to mispronounce your name. Sometimes I read things incorrectly. I do try to do the best that I can to tell you thank you for being a part of our community here and supporting what we do. But I believe, Chris and Alex, that's going to bring us to the end of our coverage for today, huh?
That
Yeah.
sounds about right with a successful mission in orbit.
All right. So, folks, big thanks again to everybody else involved with the broadcast. Alex, you know something? After the stream, I will fix your profile image, which
Oh,
does
yeah.
not show up here.
It's
Before
been
I get
weird
off the
for a
computer.
few streams already.
Yeah, I'll
I
fix
told
it.
Michael, and he didn't do it.
Oh, geez. Michael, somebody yell at Michael. Alex, thank you so much for joining in and providing your insight and expertise for the Q&A on the launch today. Always appreciate
Always a pleasure.
All right. And then out in the field, Mr. Chris Gebhardt. Chris, thanks for rolling out there and providing one more feed for us to share with folks.
My absolute pleasure. Anytime you can stand 3 miles, 5 kilometers away from a vehicle that's about to leave the planet is always a good day.
Outstanding. Back in, I guess, the studio, where by the studio, I mean his house, Michael Baylor was running AutoTrack today. He's been posting up those awesome videos of his neural network AI computer vision driven. Like, he doesn't even have to tell it what a rocket is anymore. He just points it towards the rocket and it figures out this is a rocket plume and this is a rocket body, and it commands the camera remotely and keeps the camera pointed at it. It's really impressive what he's been able to accomplish with the AutoTrack. He's going to correct me about all those programming terms that I just spewed out, not knowing exactly what it was. Oh no, he didn't correct me. Cool, good. All right, I think I said it right. Also, we had, I believe, Mr. Kevin Michael Reed helping us in the background today. Not on commentary, but our streams have so many different features these days, it helps to have folks not running their mouth on the stream. So, Kevin, thank you for the support as well. Well, I have a question, chat. And Chris, if you need
you to plug tomorrow's NSF Live, by the way.
Oh my gosh, tomorrow's NSF Live as well. We do have a stream coming up tomorrow. I'm going to be chatting as part of the Intrepid Museum Astro Live show with the production manager for the Orion Heat Shield. We saw Jack out there on the USS Portland getting those close-up awesome shots of the Orion Heat Shield after it came back from the moon. And I'm going to get to chat with the production manager for that Heat Shield tomorrow at around 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's part of our partnership with Intrepid Museum called Astro Live, actually changing the name to Astro Live this month. Should we say, I have a question for chat.
For it.
I tend to be long-winded on the outro because I like to make sure that everybody gets thanked and that sort of stuff. I don't want to just like pull the rug out and make you see another stream real quick. I have a replay here that I could show you of Michael's AutoTrack. So my question is, should we stop the stream or should I show you a replay of Michael's AutoTrack? Vote in chat with likes or thumbs ups or something. I'll wait till it comes through. I'm not just going to make the decision.
I
know what my vote is for.
I don't know if people have someplace to be or anything like that, but couple replay, please. Look, some people even said please. Nice.
Oh, there's a poll in chat.
Oh, there's a poll in chat now.
Show it, replay. Show, definitely.
You know something? I think we could just do this one full screen. I don't think that we need to do this one in the smaller screen. So let me get that rolled all the way back to the beginning. Oop. And pause it. And let's see if I can't get this going here. Just 1 second, y'all. Just 1 second. All right. So this will be a full screen replay of Michael's AutoTrack. It's the software vision. It's what Michael sees on the screen as the software actually decides what it should do to track the rocket. Here's the replay. You can see it's actually labeled rocket body, and it has a box drawn around the rocket body. Let's hit play. and see how this works. Look, it's labeled engine flames. Is that like a certainty factor? Like it's 0.9 certain that those are engine flames, and it's 0.9 certain that that's a rocket body? It is. It's the confidence on the box. Michael says yes.
We need Michael here to comment this.
Look at that. Like even as it shakes, look how tightly constrained the box is with the shaking. And then it's like, whoa.
And goodbye.
Now the cursor.
It's still tracking.
Yeah, no, the cursor went blue at the. Oh, come on. There we go. The cursor and I think the box went blue at the end, but it kept moving. And I think Michael's going to correct me if I'm wrong, but it uses like telemetry data, I believe. It moves to a constant rate for 5 seconds, and then it goes to data from Flight Club. Michael spent an awful lot of time on this, y'all. This is really cool that he just points the camera at the rocket, and then it determines that these are engine flames. That's a rocket. Let's keep it all nicely in frame.
If you want to watch the launch with his eyes.
Yeah, he just doesn't do anything. He doesn't like have a joystick or anything trying to track it, looking at a little monitor. The computer's just doing it, and Michael gets to watch it himself. We've actually got a members video. We always talk about the member program. Oh, the member program, right? But if you are a member, Red Team and or above, that SWAT launch out of Vandy, he was out there in person tracking that one with the auto track software, and we have a member video that shows the whole thing, like launch to landing, with all the computer decisions that are being made of that SWAT launch and RTLS landing at Vandy for members, Red Team and above, over on the YouTube channel.
Which I gotta say is really cool. Like to see the auto tracking as it's like figuring out what's the second stage, what's the first stage. That's really cool. If you go check it out in our members video section. Yeah.
It really is. It really is. Y'all, look, I know that I sort of drag out the endings to the streams, but you're not being run off the Cape or anything, Chris. Like, we have time to talk.
Not at all.
Right? But
not anymore. Yes.
I do believe that that should mark the end of our broadcast here today. Again, folks... Go, Chris.
Actually, real quick, just as Alex said, what we witnessed with SWAT, O3B, and Starlink just now is the fastest launch-to-launch of 3 missions for SpaceX at just about 33 hours. So that is really cool. It did break the previous record of about 36 that they set. So that is really, really cool indeed today, too.
Yeah, you would never believe what Elon is doing, tweeting about his launch successes here. If we hop over to Twitter real quick, Elon has posted up congrats to the SpaceX team on 3 perfect orbital launches within 36 hours. Over on, I guess, his Bird app, Twitter. He owns the place. He tweets all the time now, not that he didn't tweet very much before. But that is going to bring us to the end of our live coverage. Starlink Group 437 confirmed, separated in orbit. Folks, thank you so much for being a part of this, being a part of our community, and joining us for these broadcasts. For now, we will see you nerds later. Thanks for watching. I'm rolling the outro because I'm in charge and I want to hear the song.
Liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
The chamber pressure looks good. Toggling up.
Roger, roll, Atlantic.
Water towers, fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight down by SE off. Say again, SE off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.